The Nagasaki mission did not go nearly as smooth as the Hiroshima. They got up to Nagasaki, the weather was bad, and they played around almost an hour up there, hunting for a hole through which they could drop the bomb.
Sure enough, the bombardier did find an opening and dropped it.
The second atomic bomb instantly kills over 50,000 Japanese. But it's not just the initial explosion that's so destructive.
The effects of the atomic bombs was horrific. Thousands and thousands of others suffered the effects of radiation sickness, the loss of skin, terrible burns and so on. And they filtered out into the surrounding countryside, and people were horrified, couldn't understand what had happened.
In the aftermath, we read accounts of fathers not being able to recognize their own children because the skin is dripping off of them and they look like kind of a melting wax monster. The shadows of individuals burning into the concrete, of people suddenly not existing because of the immense destructive power of the atomic bomb has literally pulverized them to dust.
As a medical doctor, I treated the victims of the atomic bomb. Blood spots and purple spots caused by internal bleeding started to show up on their skin. Once the symptoms were reported, tumors grew in their mouths, and their gums started to bleed. The victims were suffering from external injuries and internal functional disorder. But above all, it was a radiation injury that covered the great majority. They went one by one.
August 1945. In an attempt to bring an end to the war, the United States drops 2 atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Most of the city appears to have been obliterated.
The US hopes that the bombs will be enough to force a Japanese surrender and make a land invasion unnecessary.
Something that I still remember so clearly, as we're crossing the ocean to Japan, it could look down on the seas around Japan and see the extent of our preparation for landing. It was breathtaking. As far as you can see in every direction were ships. And if this was going to be the intent or the difference between using the weapon and not using the weapon, that whatever numbers they had anticipated, I think would have been understated.
I think initially response to the use of the atomic weapon, unless you had a really powerful moral or theological argument against using such a weapon against civilians, was relief that the US had found a weapon to end the war. People just wanted the war to be over at that stage.
We were at war, they started it, it's our turn to finish it. And we saved lots of lives. And if they would not have capitulated when they did, there'll be some more atomic bombs coming along.
Despite the devastation caused by the 2 atomic bombs, Japan's determination to keep fighting remains.
Ultimately, the American call for unconditional surrender demonstrated that they weren't quite sure of all the elements they needed to occupy Japan and to get Japan, in a sense, back on its feet. The Japanese are always struggling with, can we save elements of our national polity, of our kokutai? Can we keep the empire? Had the Allies said yes to some of those conditions earlier, arguably a second atomic bomb might not have been necessary.
After the first 2 bombs were dropped, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the Japanese didn't make quick enough decision to surrender. So General May asked me the question, have you got another one of those things? And I said, yes, we do have another one. He said, get it out here. The question is, what will the target be? And obviously one of the most important ones was, well, why not Tokyo? Let's drop it on the Emperor's Palace. That'll impress them.